uneasily. The size of the class and the size of the discussion aren't the same thing. Okay? And I really do feel that you have real engagement starts to happen around 5 or 6 people, and it starts to be clipped after about a dozen or so. So I think that's the sweet spot. Between about 5 and a dozen people, you have a good size for a good engaged conversation, where everybody, can talk a lot, but you still have enough people to kind of generate some interest. But our classes aren't always that size, and this year, in fact, I was teaching in the spring a group of about 22, 24. It was around there, and so I divided them into 2 groups, 2 discussion groups, and got good discussions in both of those groups.
Students don't like to be in the same group with the same 6 all of the time. 5 or 6 is about the right number, and so I'll break them into groups and then rotate them every second week. That works, but I don't always. Sometimes I just, with a class of 40, I'd probably, if there was a large group, I'd say 20, and then watch what happens. But you'll quickly be able to see, using the monitoring tools, that some students won't get involved in that. But that would be probably the biggest that I would go, and then probably 5 or 6 after that. And when it's 5 or 6, people tend to speak up more frequently, and I think that's probably one of the best ways to do that.
Well, first of all, I would argue that the maximum number of students in an online environment would ideally be about 15 to 20. And I say that because if the design is working, in the sense that the discussion, as an example, the discussion area is fully engaging students, they're participating regularly, they're generating a large volume of text, basically, of online discussion that everyone has to read, including me. So it's really a matter of fairness and, again, workload and sheer volume for students. So the idea that you could have that kind of learning experience with 30 or 40 students actively participating all at once is, I think, quite problematic. It's not always possible to reduce the numbers to 15 or 20, but that would be, I think, ideal. One of the things I should say is that given the focus on the asynchronous discussion space and the self-generating content, if you will, I think instructors should carefully scrutinize the design of their courses so that they can make decisions around what can go, because we're really adding quite a significant chunk of content, if you will, on a weekly basis to what students already have to do. So if you've decided to teach online and you're looking closely at the design elements within your course, one of the first things I would encourage you to do is ask yourself what's not necessary to keep. In other words, what's not core to the course? What additional readings might you be able to let go of because the asynchronous online discussion becomes part of the core content?